Morning. I was looking around YouTube the other day, and I keep seeing all this stuff about HR 127. And so I was wondering, what in the world is this thing that everybody's talking about? One thing that caught my eye, actually, was One Gun Channel, who's generally a funny type channel, and they even made a video about it. And I thought, well, if this funny channel is making a more serious video about this same bill that's been going around, maybe I should look into it a little bit. So I did. What it is HR 127 basically takes your Second Amendment rights and puts them up for sale. If it were to pass, what it does is you would have to get one of 3 licenses from the government just to be able to possess or own a firearm. There's the general license, an antique weapon display license, and then a military-style weapon license. But what you need to do, if you don't know what it is Google it, read through it. It's not a real long deal, but there's a lot in there that would be bad. And so basically what it does is it takes your Second Amendment right and turns it into something that you can buy from the government. So you would no longer have the right to own any firearms, own certain kinds of ammunition, or even possess them. Say you wanted to go hunting and you wanted to borrow your buddy's rifle. That would no longer be possible unless you went through the whole process to get this license. One thing about it that it would stipulate in that bill is that everybody that goes through the licensing process, so you pay and put in an application and whatnot and all for getting the license, and then you have to go through a 24-hour instructional class on how to use them, how to store them, all just the general stuff. Then you have to go to a psychologist and go through a psych eval, and the only certain psychologists would be allowed to do those evaluations, and they would be handpicked by the Attorney General. So you would have to pay and go do that. And then if you made it through, you passed the training, you got the license, you passed the psych eval, you would then have a requirement to have a firearms, some sort of firearms insurance policy that would be $800 a year paid directly to the Attorney General. That is the only step that has a price attached to it at this point. All of the other steps, it said that no price had been come up with yet. No fees had been actually hammered out yet, but the insurance policy would be $800 a year directly to the Attorney General. So just by that one fee there, or that one thing that was a requirement, your Second Amendment, if you want to be able to have it, is now for sale for at least $800 a year. So if you don't have the insurance policy, you can't have any guns. Which, it's completely unconstitutional in my mind. Reading through it, and the punishments were just ridiculous. Just for simply possessing 50 caliber ammunition, whether it's for rifle, pistol, doesn't matter, would be without I can't remember if it was with or without a license, or if it was just 50 cal period. But it was minimum fine of like $50,000 and a minimum prison sentence of 10 years. All the way up to, I think it was $75,000 or 15 years in prison. So there's just a bunch of nonsense. If you had a firearm without going through their licensing process and all of that, a minimum of 10 years in prison and like a $50,000 fine. There's plenty, my numbers may be wrong, so I encourage you to Google it or look on YouTube. There's plenty of videos and plenty of information out there to actually see, read through the bill yourself and be able to see what the numbers are, There was nothing in there about grandfathering. So if you already have a certain firearm, and then if this bill were to pass, in order to keep that firearm, you would have to go through all of this process just to be able to keep the firearms that you already have. So look into that. But what I did is I saw that, and I wasn't sure exactly which representative, Kansas government personnel that I was supposed to contact, so I just emailed them all. I went to all of their websites, the contact me section. I just Googled Kansas representatives. It popped up with a few people, and I just clicked on that, went to their individual website, hit the contact us, and then you type in your name, your address, and all this stuff. And I just sent them a simple email saying, I've been doing some research on HR 127, and I am a Kansas resident, and I oppose this bill, and I would like you to stop this bill. Do not let this bill pass at any time when it's brought up. So I have had one response back. It's from Sharice Davids, who is the representative for the Kansas City area. So I emailed her, sent her that quick little message, and she sent me back an email and a few paragraphs of it on here. She is a Democrat. A few of the paragraphs that she put up on this email are, I respect the Second Amendment, and I appreciate you taking some time to share your views. I'm the daughter of a military veteran, and I know most gun owners are law-abiding citizens. Many people responsibly own guns to protect their families and homes, and I know there's a long history and family values associated with hunting and fishing. But at the same time, I also think that we should take reasonable and common sense steps to protect our families that are in line with our Constitution. I don't think it makes sense to let violent criminals, domestic abusers, and terrorists legally buy weapons, and neither do the majority of gun owners. But unfortunately, right now, there are dangerous loopholes that can permit this to happen. So that was just a few of the paragraphs from her response email. I don't know how much she knows about firearms, but it doesn't seem like she really knows too much by saying that we let criminals, violent criminals, domestic abusers, and terrorists legally buy firearms. So I sent another email back responding to that saying, the criminals are not going in. Criminals, domestic abusers, and terrorists generally are not going to walk into the local gun store, fill out the paperwork to buy a weapon. They are going to get the weapons wherever and however they want, whether it's stealing them, buying them illegally, which those things are already illegal. So, but this bill would make it to where, if I can't afford to buy my Second Amendment from the government, and for some reason I end up having to protect myself or my family wherever we are, then, I would be the one that would get arrested. And then my family would be without a husband or a dad for minimum of 10 years, which then, of course, rolls downhill. Lose the house, struggle to pay any bills and get around, get through life, because I'm the one that brings in the majority of everything for bills and all. And I just think that this bill is terrible. So what I encourage you to do is to do some research on it. Just Google HR 127, read through the bill. If you want a quicker kind of snapshot of it, get onto YouTube. There's plenty of channels that have already done a lot of in-depth explanations of this bill. They've talked about this bill. A lot of information out there. And it would take all law-abiding citizens and turn them into criminals overnight. Just they signed, or if it passes, we're all now out of luck because people already have firearms, but now they require a license, and they don't have that license. And the only way that you can get your Second Amendment back is to buy it from the government. So do some research on it. I would say email all of your representatives, all of your government officials, and let them know, I do not support this. I live in your state. I live in your district. Everything, and just hammer them with emails, phone calls, saying that you do not support this and you would like it stopped immediately. As soon as it comes up, shut it down. So that's all I got for you today. Yeah, that'll be good.